Welcome to my new YouTube channel, Just Joseph. Several years ago, I created a channel called Monastic Musings. My intention was to post videos dealing with the spiritual life as a Roman Catholic with a uniquely monastic and Benedictine point of view. From the start, I tried to avoid becoming a talking head, weighing in on culture war topics or apologetics. It was not long, however, before I felt compelled to stray from my original mission. Over the years, I have posted many satirical videos, and I did not shy away from expressing my opinions on topics of the day. I also posted videos about my personal life where I probably overshared my experiences and emotions. As each new year began, I would resolve to return to the original purpose of Monastic Musings and attempt to post videos consistent with the Musings mission. It was not long, however, before I would be put off that mission by posting a video regarding an off-brand topic. This year, I'm attempting to reinvigorate the original Monastic Musings mission by sticking to spiritual topics in monthly videos. As for those urges to post content outside the Musings brand, I have created this new Just Joseph channel. Here, I will address a wide range of topics and post videos featuring my art, music, and satire, while continuing to overshare and rant in a way that I hope entertains my subscribers. Here begins my first Just Joseph vlog. Recently, I came across a portion of a video that was originally posted in 2020, but has only now gone viral. In the video, an 18-year-old YouTuber named Daniel Lemus is presenting a makeup tutorial. Daniel appears in full makeup, which includes false eyelashes and acrylic fingernails. He is unexpectedly interrupted by his father knocking on his bedroom door. Embarrassed about being discovered wearing makeup by his father, Daniel turns off the lights and hides in the dark. However, Daniel's father turns the lights back on. When he discovers his son in full makeup like a woman might wear it, instead of expressing disgust, anger, or shame, Daniel's father takes his sons into his arms for an extended hug. The father's many kisses and sweet words are audible. In English and in the words of his own native tongue, the father says to Daniel, "I am always with you. I love you. Whatever you do is okay. Do it good." You can view the video segment on Now This News with English subtitles by the link posted in the description below. My recent birthday marked 50 years since I was Daniel's age in the video. By the time I reached the age of 18, my interests in things traditionally regarded as feminine had been met with a great deal of ridicule and scorn. When I was about 8, my father discovered me walking around the house pinching the front of my pant leg as if it were a long dress. He became upset with me and reacted by making me put on one of my sister's dresses, hoping I would be sufficiently humiliated. I wasn't so bothered or too upset at first, but after a while my mother found me lying on the couch pouting, fully realizing what the intent was behind the exercise. Mom allowed me to change back into my regular clothes, satisfied, I guess, that I had learned my lesson. I can still feel the hurt I experienced at the time, and I can still remember the sting of my siblings making fun of me. The lesson left an emotional scar that will not heal. Most of my life, I have been a conventional sort of person. I tend to scrupulously follow established customs and mores, sometimes way beyond what most people would tolerate. But there have been times in my life, particularly as a child, when aspects of my personality would emerge in contrast to these conventional practices, much to the dismay of parents, siblings, teachers, and other children. The prevailing fear of boys being recruited into a queer lifestyle in the late 1950s and early 1960s has been captured in a propaganda-style film entitled Boys Beware, produced in 1961, the same year I started first grade. Boys Beware presents a scenario of a young teenage boy as he is befriended by an older man whom the narrator labels as sick because he is a homosexual. Warning underage boys about predatory adults is laudatory, but using the term homosexual in the place of the word pedophile is harmfully misleading. It is not surprising that this attitude would be so common at that time, since it would not be until 1972 that homosexuality would be removed from the American Psychiatric Association list of personality disorders. I grew up in a world where the fear of homosexuality or effeminacy in a boy was fueled by a widely accepted belief that such manifestations were both sick and abhorrent. At that time, no father discovering his son wearing makeup or eyeing photos of attractive men would ever hug his son and say, "I am proud of you." Over the past 2 years, there have been efforts mounted to rid public and school libraries of books feared to groom or indoctrinate kids into embracing the LGBTQ+ lifestyle. This fear has inspired culture warriors to ban any discussions of LGBTQ+ issues in classrooms and force gay and trans youth back to the margins of society, where many live in despair and often turn to suicide. These same culture warriors actively oppose common-sense gun legislation that would keep safe schools and places where people gather to work, pray, or play. Yet they fear people who love other people of the same gender or claim a gender that is outside established societal norms. The term grooming is used to describe how a pedophile insidiously manipulates a child for a sexual encounter. Culture warriors have appropriated the term and applied it to a false notion that reading books or participating in conversations inclusive of same-sex couple families or LGBTQ+ children is somehow manipulating or deceiving students to change into something which they are not. I can attest to the fact from my own experience that exposing children to drag queens or age-appropriate LGBTQ+ literature will not change the course of their gender identification or sexual interest. The opposite is also true. Punishing a child who manifests non-gender conforming behavior will not change the child's trajectory of gender-specific development. Efforts to correct, humiliate, or demean a child for these reasons will do a great deal of harm. People have told me that I should just put the hurts from my childhood aside and move on. True, it would be best to detach myself from these experiences, but what I have discovered is that we do not have emotional wounds. The wounds have us. Hurtful memories live a life of their own. It takes so little to trigger them into consciousness later in life, and when recalled, the hurt and anger that packages them quickly rises to the surface. If neglected, these emotions can fester and produce self-destructive behaviors. It is usually at this point that someone would confront me and cite certain verses from the Bible as proof against all that I have said. This person would say that the behavior of LGBTQ+ people is harmful to the soul, which is allegedly far worse than any harm of which I speak. Presenting a counter-argument on biblical references and Catholic doctrine would take a whole other video, but I can offer this now. Jesus never addresses homosexuality in the Gospels. In fact, Jesus shows himself most willingly to cure the centurion's servant or slave in Luke chapter 7 verses 1 through 10. The passage is quite clear that the servant was highly valued by the centurion. Historians have noted that Roman military men at that time often took manservants or slaves as lovers. Yet Jesus praises the centurion for his great faith. I worry about these new classical Catholic high schools popping up throughout the U.S., like the Chesterton Academy of St. James here in Menlo Park. These schools are attempting to bring back an alleged golden age of the 1950s, where religious sisters wore long habits, priests wore cassocks, and boys wore neckties and girls only wore modest dresses to school. The education is supposedly classical, which likely will include the church's repressive attitudes towards sexuality and the promotion of a hypocritical purity culture. I ache to think of those boys and girls who, like me, find it impossible to completely be themselves in this setting. I fear the harm that will come to the 10% of the student body who will inevitably identify as LGBTQ+, but will hear over and over again their natural tendencies are intrinsically evil, and how they will fear a future full of loneliness and isolation. I doubt that the atmosphere at that institution will allow for tolerance toward anyone manifesting such tendencies. I'm sure it will only be a matter of time before its oppressive culture results in a student being raped by a teacher or an LGBTQ+ student committing suicide. I shudder to think of it. Friends, as many of you are aware, many loud voices are attracting scores of followers to an ideology that seeks to vilify, oppress, and do great harm to marginalized folks like me. Some of these voices post videos on YouTube rallying rage and anger against those who wish no harm but simply wish to live their lives openly and freely. I hope that you will support my voice by subscribing to my Just Joseph channel, giving this video a like, and sharing it with others. I have begun a new GoFundMe campaign to support me so that I can build up the voice of compassion, peace, and justice in our world. I hope you will contribute to it if you are able. The link is posted below. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, peace be with you.